Hopefully I'm in the right live. Hi. Sorry, guys.
Hi, Liza.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so I don't know which one. Let's talk about this little missing girl first, and then we'll talk about the Boston case, and then we'll talk about the Idaho case. So let me get missing. And this is another little girl named Athena. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is leading the search for little Athena Brownfield. She's 3 years old. She was first reported missing on Tuesday afternoon from her home in Cyril, which is located 70 miles southwest of Oklahoma City. A postal carrier found her 5-year-old sister outside near her home, unattended, and then they found out that the 3-year-old was missing. The 3-year-old is a 3-year-old. She doesn't really speak too much. They were using a helicopter and specially trained ground team to search for the little girl, as well as using boats and looking in nearby ponds. We're still very actively looking for her, said a spokesperson for the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation. The search remained focused on the area around Cyril, and officials and residents and local businesses had asked local businesses for any surveillance they might have. Authorities are still trying to determine when Athena was last seen, but they believe she was wearing a hoodie with a butterfly when she went missing. Her 5-year-old sister was taken into protective custody. When asked where the girl's parents were, the spokesperson said that's part of the ongoing investigation. And let's see, so I don't know. It's sketchy what's going on there. Let me see what Hillbilly, if Hillbilly had any other information to add. So I thought you might be interested in this because it is sort of weird that parents are not in the picture, not sure what's going on. This hurts my heart so much. It does. It's so sad because they haven't found her. It's going to be the second night that she's out, and that let's see. The latest on this. Let's see if we can get
The post lady found her.
what the post late. Yeah, I don't know if they're a man or woman. The post person found the 5-year-old. Now it's saying she's 4 years old. So I don't know what's going on. It looks like they're getting in information. I'm trying to get her picture up here.
So there were 2 sisters and one was found.
One was found wandering around, and the other one, I don't see. It's very. Who told? Like, did the 5-year-old say my 3-year-old sister is missing? Did they find the parents? It's very sketchy, the information that's coming in, and I think. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to understand, and they know a lot more, I'm sure, than they're telling the public. But they are. Here's a picture of the little girl that's missing, and now it might be coming in that she's 4 years old when they've said 3 years old. So I don't know. Let's see. It says the search now. It's a 4-year-old. Athena Brownfield is currently underway still after the child was missing around 2 p.m. on Tuesday. After the girl was discovered missing. Let's see, they set up a command post at the Family Life Church and began searching the area with the help of canines and combed the area overnight. They're still searching at this time. They're asking residents who have doorbell cameras or home cameras to check it and, of course, report anything. And that they don't say much of anything else about it. So, I don't know. Do they suspect, where were the parents? Did the parents disappear with her somewhere? I mean, it's okay, here's the grandmother that speaks out. Let's see what she said. Okay, let me put her picture. The grandmother, right there. This is so sad. These kids. Okay, so Penny Brownfield said she is the paternal grandmother of Athena Brownfield, and she is thanking people for their support in search groups. She also said that, I don't know what I can do to help. I'm thankful that all these people are here to help find her. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. She hasn't seen Athena or her sister in a long time due to family conflicts, but she would be out looking for her granddaughter for as long as it takes. She also said that Athena's 5-year-old sister was safe in DHS custody, a statement echoed during the press conference on Wednesday. We know where she's at. She's safe. They won't let us see her. We have to go to DHS. It's a long backstory, and it's kind of personal. The recent case of Athena Strand also shook Brownfield, who said she's been unable to sleep for fear of the worst. She looks just like my daughter Megan, and yeah, I'm lost for words. The search for little Athena Brownfield is still underway, and if you have any information on Athena's whereabouts, please contact 800-522-8017. So yeah, I think that's like all they know. Gary said they find her somewhere miraculously, I don't know, alive. So sad. I don't think let's see if this is the latest. Athena allegedly has limited verbal skills. She may have been missing since Friday, January 6th, according to flyers distributed. See, this is what I mean. I think we're not hearing the whole story. And so while they found the sister on Tuesday, little Athena may have been missing since Friday. And I don't know whether it's just seeming to me like either they think the parents did something with her and she was gone. I don't know the circumstances of the 5-year-old being found by the post carrier. This is kind of strange, but they believe she may have been missing since Friday, January 6th, according to flyers distributed. The FBI is reportedly working with OSBI in the investigation, but is not physically present at the scene. That's sad. Athena's about 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, light brown hair, blue eyes, last seen wearing a pink butterfly sweater and pink pants. See, initial reports set her age at 3 years old. Now her age has been updated to 4 on Wednesday morning. Okay, the flyers also say Athena had allegedly been missing since Friday, January 6th. News crews saw Athena's home on Nebraska Avenue with crime scene tape all around it as of 9 p.m. on Tuesday. That doesn't sound good. The next morning, Brooke Arbitman said the crime tape was not an indication of a crime, but rather a precaution to keep people out of the home. Anyone with doorbell cameras is asked to search their footage and search their properties. Yeah, that's all there is. It doesn't sound good. It sounds like something was brewing there for a long time. Yeah, very sad. Okay, and then the next thing we have is more about this Bryan Walshe guy. And as far as I know, I'm going to check the latest update. They haven't found his wife's body yet. Let's see. Okay, so let's go. In 2008, Anna Kripp was an ambitious, well-educated young woman of 25 from Belgrade, Serbia, when she met her future husband, Bryan Walshe. Anna was working at the picturesque... Excuse me, hold on, my thing just jumped up. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Hold on, guys, my thing just locked up. Wait for this. If I click it and keep clicking it, it's going to not let us. I was trying to get a picture up for you guys. They did say that Anna had said to her family there was going to be a big surprise when she got back from her trip. They don't know what that big surprise was, and probably never will know what it was. Okay, so she met her husband when she was working at the Wheatley Hotel in the Berkshires. Now, he was the son, as we told you yesterday, of a prominent Boston neurosurgeon. That's also the one that he went there and ransacked his beach house. One Serbian newspaper quoted Anna's mother as saying she met Bryan when she cleaned his apartment. But the life that they built together in a wealthy seaside suburb south of Boston after marrying in Serbia in 2015 turned out to be toxic, with a slight "A Star is Born" vibe, and now Anna's missing, and her husband is charged with misleading investigators in this case. Last March, Anna got a big new job in Washington, D.C. with a real estate firm called Tishman Speyer. It reportedly came with an increase in salary, but meant that she would have to commute back and forth while her husband and kids were back in Cohasset, Massachusetts. Meanwhile, her husband, whose LinkedIn profile lists roles at companies with little to no internet presence, we looked at that yesterday, right, as the CFO and CEO of all these companies, that really, it seems like he's just inventing them, probably with fraud because he did the Warhol paintings fraud, was under house arrest for art fraud. Anna may or may not have known that Bryan's cousin and two close friends of his father, Dr. Thomas Walshe, have alleged in scathing court documents that Bryan was estranged from most of his family because he had stolen $1 million from his father. They claim he tried to manipulate the elderly man after he had a stroke to get even more from him. Let's see. The father's friend of more than 35 years, Jeffrey Ornstein, stated in 2019 affidavit that he had known Bryan since the age of 13, and he said Bryan's father told him that the son had been a long-term patient at the Austin Riggs Psychiatric Center in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, and had been diagnosed as a sociopath. Great. Ornstein claimed that father and son were long estranged, and that when Bryan was let out a few years ago, after 12 or so years of no contact, Dr. Walshe turned him down. "You're my son, and I will always hope for the best for you, but I do not want to re-engage." The friend said, quoted the father saying, "If I did, I know that I would be letting mayhem back into my life, and I can't have that." And that's why he was left out of the father's will, and why he went there and did what he did to the house. And hold on one second. I'm trying to get their pictures. Every time I try to go to the pictures, it locks up. Okay, and then he said, now Anna's mysterious disappearance from the family home on December 31st has turned into a bloody mystery. Her 47-year-old husband was charged this week with misleading investigators because they went to the house, they found a knife, and they found blood, and then he had a convoluted story that he took his son for ice cream, but that's not the case, and then went to CVS and went to Whole Foods, but he didn't go to CVS or Whole Foods. Instead, he went to the Home Depot and he purchased $450 of cleaning supplies, tarps and cleaners and all that stuff. And when he went into the Home Depot, he was wearing a surgical mask and latex gloves. He paid cash for everything. And he thought that the ankle monitors didn't have GPS. So if he got clearance to go grocery shopping and take his kids to school, even though it was the day after New Year's Day and the kids didn't have school, he thought if he got the clearance to do that, it wouldn't know where he was. And then he also asked that he had to take his mother home, saying that she had been staying with them and he had been taking care of her, but he had to get her back home. Well, he does go to where she lives, but he also tells them, I got lost bringing my mother home. He got lost bringing his mother home. And that's why he went out of the way. But the garbage that was in the mother's dumpster that got put into a landfill contained and many other interesting things, like a hacksaw and a hatchet and used cleaning supplies, among other things. Okay, so they found that, and they know that area received the dumpster from the mother's apartment building. Plus, what was the other thing I was going to tell you that he did? He told them he got lost. He got the cleaning supplies. There was just one thing that was tip of my tongue. What the heck was it? Oh, gosh, I'll think of it here in a minute. He got lost. He got the cleaning supplies. Oh, yes. Computer searches for how to dispose of a 115-pound woman. that was found on his computer. So I would say it's going to be just a matter of time before the charges are upgraded. And I think if he does get out on bond, he was going to do a photos doulos. But we'll see. Because he still hasn't been sentenced for the art fraud. Okay, so that was for selling 2 fake Andy Warhol paintings on eBay for $80,000. Money may have been a stressor for the family. Okay. So I guess they're talking about Anna. She was my landlord, wrote Mandy Lee on Facebook, adding that her fiance had known Anna for 8 years, but noticed a personality change recently. Anna, it seemed, wanted Mandy and her fiance out of the home so that she could sell it. When I refused, she got out of character and very angry, and it seemed like we were ruining her plans. She also kept telling us that she and Bryan have something for us in the new year. I'm wondering what that was. A magic act? This is so crazy. I literally spoke to her days before she went missing. In addition to art fraud, Bryan, who was reportedly cut out of his father's will, raided his father's $710,000 seaside home in Hull, Massachusetts after his father's death in 2018. Court documents show that Bryan took thousands of dollars in valuable artwork by Salvador Dali, as well as a car and luxury items. The gallery owner, who unwittingly bought the 2 fake Warhols on eBay in 2016, said that Walshe was a glib con man. He knows how to play the legal system. He knows how to play everyone and everything. He's very calculated. Bryan's LinkedIn profile does not mention art dealing, but instead says he's the CFO of something called Let's, which is leadership and effective teamwork strategies. Does not seem to have much of a footprint online. Profile also says he was the CFO of Capital Letters Consulting, which has little to none online presence. And Anna gushed about her husband in a letter to the federal judge last summer, expressing how much joy and comfort he's brought the family and seeking leniency for him in the art fraud case just months before he was charged in connection with her disappearance. During these 8 months, our family was able to be together during many of the milestones, Anna wrote, referring to the time that her husband had been on house confinement. And hold on, I was going to put down this picture of that. Let's just do that. Put her picture up. Our youngest son turned 1. Our middle son started to speak, and our oldest son, who had just started kindergarten when we saw you last, is now only a few weeks away from completing the year and preparing for first grade, she wrote. He also lost his first tooth. 39-year-old woman was last seen alive on January 1st following a New Year's Eve dinner at their home in Cohasset. That dinner was with her husband, her children, and a friend. Anna's Instagram account features many influencer-like selfies of herself and very few photos of her husband. Bryan's internet history indicated that he searched for how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body at the time of Anna's disappearance. According to court documents, evidence indicating foul play in the sinister disappearance includes a bloody knife in the family's basement and Bryan Walshe's alleged purchase of $450 of cleaning supplies. Here's their house. Okay. In addition, police found that hatchet, blood, hacksaw, trash bags, used cleaning supplies, and a rug at a transfer station in Peabody, Mass., just north of Boston, 5 miles from Bryan's mother's home in Swampscott. She was a gorgeous woman from Serbia. I just wonder why she went for him, said a neighbor. Bryan's mother, Diana Walshe, in Swampscott, who did not want to be identified, said nobody can figure out his game. That doesn't make any sense, who did not want to be identified when they gave her name. Oh my goodness. Both Anna Walshe and her mother were apparently loyal to Walshe, whose personal and professional history appeared to be shady in the extreme, according to court documents. Anna's mother also wrote the judge a letter on her son-in-law's behalf. The 2 women praised Bryan for helping save the mother's life, the mother-in-law's life, when she had a brain aneurysm in 2021. But Anna's mother had a sudden reason to worry on Christmas. She said she got a message from her daughter on December 25th, which begged her to visit the next day. She just said, "Please, Mama, come tomorrow," which means that clearly there must have been some problems. So yeah, just a sociopath that he was. That's really scary. Okay, now let's go to verification. What's that about? Vacationer stabbed at a drug-fueled party in North Carolina Airbnb. What is this? Is this recent?
Say goodbye.
4 vacationers were stabbed and 6 were arrested at a drug-fueled party at an Airbnb in North Carolina early Monday. Police responded to a reported stabbing at a rental home in Marshall around 3:20 a.m. 4 people were treated for multiple stab wounds. 6 people were arrested, all of whom were charged with possession of multiple drugs. J. Caleb Bell was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury with intent to kill. What the heck is that about? I don't know. We can't get into that. Let's go back to Bryan, and there's another little tidbit that came out. Oh, and I want to tell you that, here, let me get these off the screen. Today we went to that alleged Tinder date, and in case you missed it, I told you days before that leaked audio is fake, totally fake, okay? And this is what they're doing. And this Tinder date, okay, this Haley, we went there today in Zoom and we looked at her TikTok. Okay, prior to posting about her Tinder date with Bryan, she had a stagnant channel, okay? Now she's posting like every single day, multiple times a day, what? About Bryan or about, going after haters. But she, in my opinion, is a total liar. Okay, first of all, this happened 7 years ago, according to her. She doesn't remember what movie they saw. Well, she says that they matched on Tinder. I don't know exactly how Tinder works, so you have to swipe, don't you? So it's not like they say, here's your matches, or do you say, here's your matches, and then you swipe? I don't know. I don't use Tinder, but she says they matched on Tinder. And she says that the entire time that she knew him was 24 hours, 7 years ago. But apparently he texted her and said, hey, you want to go to a movie tonight? And she said, yeah. Okay, so immediately she just goes to a movie. But she didn't tell you. She says she was in Penn State University. And at the time, Bryan would have been into sales in Allentown. And that's like 2 hours and 40 minutes away. So I find it weird that at the spur of the moment, he would not only travel 2 hours and 40 minutes each way to take this girl he doesn't know, that he just apparently must have just started texting with, because she says 24 hours, to a movie, which she doesn't remember the name of, okay? And yes, she says, oh, don't you forget things? Well, you usually go on a date with someone. That's like, makes it a little, it's not just like watching a movie every other night. When you go on a date with someone, you usually can remember the movie you saw or what you did, especially if it was, whatever. She can't remember the name of the movie. And, of course, she can't produce any of this text. And it's amazing, the creators that were interviewing her and putting this out there like this is true. So we're watching her, and it's obvious there's people that are like, this is a bunch of crap. And number 2, what in the world is this relevance in here at all? She says her count is that they went to the movie, then he wanted to watch another movie on Netflix. Well, she blurts out that she's in a dorm room, and she mentions there's someone else there in the dorm room, so she wasn't alone in her fabrication, and that he's sitting down, and she goes, he's touching me, but not inappropriately. But I said, why are you touching me? Because he was like tickling her. She said, sounded insane. So she got up to go to the bathroom. She said he followed her to the bathroom, but he didn't go in the bathroom. She pretends she's throwing up. He goes home and then later texts her, "You have really great birthing hips." What? Even if that happened, what in the world is she going forward now? And she says, oh, she's came forward now to warn people about Tinder. Yeah, okay. You're going to warn people that you may meet a murderer 7 years before on Tinder. I think they know, and I think people know there's a possibility, and always be careful, but it's not about protecting people or anything. It's about her 15 minutes of fame. So here's the things that don't add up. The distance doesn't add up. Anybody that would have vetted her would have seen that. She doesn't have the text, doesn't show them. She has weird things going on. She says on her Facebook that she was married in 2020, yet she was with her husband at this time. So she says, oh, yeah. My husband and I broke up for, a year. And that's when I went on Tinder dates, and that's when, I went out with him. Okay, so you were married. You were living in a dorm room with another woman while you were married. Then you broke up. It doesn't make sense. It's so obviously a lie, okay? Anyway, so the other thing is, she says that, why is everybody, just leaving? Why are you interfering with an investigation? And until these people get charged, it's not going to change. And it's going to be the same thing over and over again. These people come forward. Anybody can do it. But at this rate, like I said, what is the next person going to say? Hey, listen, I was in fourth grade. I was in fourth grade with Bryan, and I have to say something. I knew something was wrong because he couldn't get his snowsuit off fast enough, and he had a lot of trouble with the zipper, and the teacher had to help him. And he would constantly call for the teacher to help him with the zipper. And I'm only coming forward with this now because I think it could help somebody. I think his problems with the zipper were probably psychological, and that he called for the teacher because he was craving more attention by a maternal figure. Yeah, so I'm going to come forward with that. What the heck? This has gotten so crazy. And then you have ex-FBI agents giving life to this, putting this out there. You've got YouTube creators out there pushing this and acting like this is real. It's ridiculous. Okay, so what other crap is there out there? It's just every day there's another insider, there's another somebody, right? Oh, they said this, that, and the other thing. Well, tomorrow the guy's going to be in court. And people are still going nuts about the freaking sealed search warrant. What? It was the 29th. They hadn't even arrested him. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But let me go to, I just saw something where supposedly Bryan of course I'm gonna let's see here. He asks about or expresses, let's get him out here. All these Bryans. Okay. So I think they 8:30. I think it's going to be 11:30 our time, and I have to figure out about what if it's probably going to be. I'm going to check with Bryan Ented in a minute. But somebody told me somebody was putting that. They didn't tell me Nancy Grace put it, but somebody else put that audio out. That audio is totally debunked.
By the people that own the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's stupid Tinder. Okay, so online sleuths. This is making the news now, okay? What they're saying. They're saying that he attended the vigil. This is the most stupid thing. The guy that they're saying is Bryan looks nothing like Bryan. And now this is going around that he attended it. It's not him. You can clearly see it's not him. So they're going around saying, oh, he said he's really sad about what happened to the students because reportedly told cops it's really sad about what happened to the victims. And the source who says that they were involved in the extradition process told the outlet that the murder suspect didn't speak directly about the students' murders, but did comment on their tragic fates. He did say it's really sad what happened to them, but he didn't say anything more. He's smarter than that. The source also said that told the outlet that the PhD criminology students seemed really nervous. Yeah, this guy, right? Yeah, he's part of the extradition process. Well, part of it in what way? Law enforcement that was already warned, right? They have the most leaks I've ever seen, if this is true. If you expect this. If you don't take this with a grain of salt, I don't know what else to tell you. He said he was narrating to himself everything that was happening, the source said. At one point, he was saying something to himself like, I'm fine, this is okay. Like he was reassuring himself that this whole thing wasn't awful. Okay, I believe that. Okay. Oh, let's see. Crazy. So that's that, and then there was something else we have to talk about besides the court. There's Ethan's parents. I knew it. They brought their other kids back to the university, and they reflected on life. Okay. This is this one. Be quiet. I just have this. I keep forgetting. Just had this. Why did I just have this? Totally. Where did I put this? It was here. It just showed that they dropped their other two kids off at the university and they reflected back on what life is like. Let's see. One or two. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So Ethan's parents dropped his triplet siblings off at the University of Idaho for them to return to school on Tuesday, 2 months after their 20-year-old son, Ethan, was brutally murdered. Jim and Stacy Chapin wrote that they spent the last 8 weeks, besides the obvious, focused on Maisie and Hunter, the two surviving triplets. Cards, talks, walks, hikes, tears, you name it. We spent the last 8 weeks, besides the obvious, focused on Maisie and Hunter. Yesterday, we successfully dropped them off back at the University of Idaho. Hunter was very glad to be back at the fraternity, and Maisie was warming up to the idea, but it was so good to hear all of the girls squeal with delight upon seeing her. It did his mama's heart good to hear it. The support from the University of Idaho and the... Hold on 1 second. Just lost this thing. Be quiet. And the MPD ISP has been profound. Maisie and Hunter are rock stars, and we couldn't be more proud of them. Their job now is just be kids. Start where they left off. Keep goals and aspirations in mind. For an update, anything Ethan had is now frozen with the defense. For us, it involves 2 vehicles. Ethan's belongings, a nice set of golf clubs. We've met with prosecutors, handled media inquiries, hopefully respectfully, managed, grieved, talked, and continue to try and process our new normal. However, nothing has changed. We spend no time being angry. That would be energy not well spent, and it still wouldn't change the outcome. We have to look ahead. What we've confirmed is Ethan is who he was because of our family. His foundation was unwavering. He was so loved, he didn't know any different. He was profoundly supported, and our family of 5 was different than others and so very special. He loved unconditionally. He was loyal to all. He was inclusive, carefree, happy, just the best person you could ever meet. The stories are endless and amazing. He touched lives we had no idea existed. Ethan was incredible. We did a great job. We will still do a great job. And as always, we are eternally grateful to so many of you. We can't possibly reply to all of your notes, but we read them all. And your kindness and support means the world to us. And I shall allow the memories to prod me into doing better with all those still living. Nicholas P. Walterstorff, Jib and Stacy. And they put that, and they put a picture of their triplets as little kids. Here, let me make this smaller so everybody shows. And so, that was their statement. And let's look ahead to the hearing now tomorrow. Let me go to... Okay, so let's see what this is about. So Brian Enton looks like he had a conversation with Jason Labar, which was the defender for Brian back in Pennsylvania. So that's interesting. He says he thought the probable cause affidavit was a strong circumstantial case that had holes. And I don't know, here's the rest of his words here, Mr. Enton. He does not believe Kohberger can get a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho. For those asking about the gag order, it does not apply to Labar because he was Kohberger's lawyer in Pennsylvania, where the arrest happened, not in Idaho, where the gag order is. He says Kohberger came up with the eager to be exonerated line in the statement that was released on his own behalf. Okay, so we've got that. Let's see. If there's anything else here. Okay. All right. Let me go to see about his hearing tomorrow now and what's going on. He's going to appear, let's see, on Thursday morning, and what I think they said, I thought they said 8:30 a.m., right? Yes. He has a status conference hearing tomorrow. Let's Let's see what is going to happen now. He'll be back in the Waldo County courtroom at 8 a.m. for a status conference hearing. So 8 a.m. now, they are on Mountain Time, so I think it's 10 a.m. our time, right? Pretty sure. So we'll be here. Trying to think here. Attorneys will discuss how they plan to move forward. The defendant could have a chance to waive his right to a speedy trial, which would allow him more time to enter the plea for the charges against him and return to court for a preliminary hearing. Kohberger remains in custody at the Waldo County Jail without bail. If he does not waive his right to a speedy trial, he will return for a formal preliminary hearing within 14 days of his initial court appearance. He was formally arraigned upon his return to Idaho on January 5th, which gives the court until January 19th to hold his preliminary hearing. Kohberger was arrested on December 30th. We know that. Let's see. A camera will be allowed in the courtroom Thursday, but a gag order remains in place, preventing any lawyers, law enforcement, or other officials involved in the case from speaking to the public or the media about the case. Let's see. So that's at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there was something else. Oh yeah, there was supposed to be the hearings for Miliete, and then they started so late. I wanted to see what's going on with that. I think they finally had something, but it was nuts how late it was. So they're seeing what case they have on him in the preliminary hearings for him to see if it's enough. So if you don't know Maya Miliete, she's a wife that's missing and presumed deceased. Her husband Larry was arrested.
She just said that she wasn't confident that she'd be.
Okay, so let's see. A witness, so there was a preliminary hearing to see what they have against him for this. A witness for the prosecution revealed a major piece of information in the case against Larry Miliete, the husband accused of murdering his wife, Maya Miliete, 2 years ago. David Garber, forensic specialist with the Chula Vista Police Department, said detectives discovered evidence of blood in the master bathroom of the family's home while searching in January of 2021. While being cross-examined by the defense attorney, Bonita Martinez, Garber was asked if detectives found any evidence of blood spatter in the house. The answer was in the main bedroom bathroom. On one of the vanities, there appeared to be reddish-brown stains that were less than 1 millimeter in size. Those stains were tested using a presumptive blood test, and the test came back positive. Garber said the test was conducted that day, didn't reveal if it was human blood or if it came from Maya, only that it tested positive. He said samples were further sent to be analyzed by a crime lab, but didn't know what the results were. Garber's primary job was with the department to take care of crime scene photos and collect evidence. Garber said that spatter was over a 2 to 3 foot area on the vanity, and he said that wasn't the only blood evidence that was found. That area was also examined using another presumptive blood test. He told the court the whole bathroom, including the tub, was sprayed with a chemical agent called Blue Star. The chemical reacts with blood to give off chemoluminescence. I did spray the bathroom, and there was one area that exhibited that luminescence, chemoluminescence. Earlier in the day, the prosecution called Destiny Johnson to the stand. She works as a legal assistant for the Roden Law LLP, a family law firm, and she told the court that she was contacted by Maya Miliete January 7th. And Johnson said she took down information from Maya about her intention to file for a divorce and said that Maya feared retaliation from her husband over contacting the firm and didn't want to meet with an attorney in person. Johnson said Maya also expressed a desire to move out of the family's home. The way she spoke just made me feel like She needed to come in and discuss options with the attorney as far as safety. Johnson also told the court that Maya scheduled an appointment the following week, January 12th, because she planned a trip to Big Bear to celebrate her daughter's birthday over the weekend, and Maya didn't want any talk of divorce to upset that trip. But Johnson said Maya never called into that appointment. She was so looking forward to that trip with her children, and she never got to go. Johnson said the call was more intense than the usual client intake conversation she's had, and she brought up her concerns with attorneys of her firm who advised her to call the Chula Vista police. She said that she had conversations with officers on January 11th. She was emotional when she told the court she wished she'd done more and sooner. That will live with me forever, she said. I do feel some remorse for sending her an intake form. I feel like that was maybe something that was discoverable, and that will make me question my role. And for that, I won't forget it. Despite the absence of a body, the hearing for Larry began in the San Diego courthouse this morning at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Dwayne Mooring, who will preside over the proceedings. The former courtroom of Judge Frederick Link, who oversaw many of the biggest criminal cases in San Diego history. Testimony was delayed for several hours, though, while motions were argued by lawyers involved in the case. Okay, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's going to take some time, but yeah, we waited for that today, and it's just such a delay. Hopefully there's a formaldehyde trial on that Scooter's watching or something, but let me just go back to the chat. I don't know where my chat is. Over here. Is that my chat? I don't even know anymore. You know what? I don't even know where my chat is. That's good. So, will he enter his plea tomorrow? Will he? I'm sure he'll waive the speedy trial, unless he's like that guy in Florida, and that worked out really well for that guy in Florida. I don't think it'll be very long. Okay, let me go over here. Channel. I'm trying to get back to you guys just in case you have anything going on. Come on. I don't know how to touch my computer. I probably have to restart it. I should probably restart it. Okay. Oh boy. Let me go over here. Studio. Oh my goodness. Action required, accept new terms. Oh, hold on a minute, I've got to accept something. Oh my gosh. Thought this was going to be easy. I thought this was just holding me up. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to copy this. I can take a look at this later. Okay. Alright, let me just paste this somewhere so I can go look at this. Okay. Yes. Okay, let me make sure I have that all done. Submit. Didn't I do that? Accept, yes, view. What do I have to do here? Oh, view this. Sorry. Okay. Done. Okay, now turn on. Okay. Thank you. And I want to add to my post. Sorry guys, I just have to put this here because I have to look at this later. Okay. All right, let me go back to the chat now, which is over here. Content. All right, if anybody wants to call in, call in. If anybody has something to say, say it. What? Okay, so he also brought for, okay, so I think my chat is behind. Yeah, I said that, 400. How do people not know that you are on camera everywhere? It is astounding. I know, right, DA? I know. You must be really behind in chat, otherwise, like, because I was discussing that case first, and I don't have any chat after that? That's weird. Hi, Vicky. That's weird. I don't know if my chat is all stuck. Oh, maybe you're behind in the video. That's probably what it is. Okay, let's see. Nobody robs our truck says, I think BK planted the sheath at the scene. Maybe he planted it there and used a similar knife. Autopsy will show different knife, not fitting K-bar. Still guilty with all evidence stacked. Linda Uribe, hello there. You said on the news now, massive fire in LaSalle, Illinois, at a chemical plant like bombs going off. Massive fire, really? Wow, this is crazy. It does seem like the end of the world now. There's got any massive bombs going off in there.
Where is this?
LaSalle, Illinois. She said a massive fire in a chemical plant, bombs going off. Hi, Barb Olson. Let's see. So did you hear anything else, Elle, on Bryan?
No, I haven't. I just, I've been hearing about tomorrow, about the hearing, and I hear some things, but they're not true. Like,
Yeah.
I know they're not true. I've been hearing a lot of things.
Oh, there's a lot. That's not true. I mean, that Tinder, I don't know if you were here when we were looking, I don't think you were when we were looking at the Tinder lady. And it's just crazy. How she, I mean, and yeah, if they're, you know, as long as people are allowed to do that and there's no repercussions other than, you know, she's upset that she's getting like some shade thrown at her in comments.
Right.
But yeah, that you know, she should be, she's obstructing.
You're so right about that tape. The people that own that house and that own that recorder said that that was not him on the tape, and that was disgraceful.
But why did they give it out?
I don't know if that isn't the tape. They didn't. They must have. That was not authentic. So that couldn't have been the tape they gave out, because that was not an authentic tape.
Okay.
So they must have not given it. It must have been from, I don't know where they should find out who made that and where they got it from. And
it's horrible. And there's still
a
creators
penalty.
that have it out there, and they have it out there saying that's Ethan screaming in the title. It's horrible.
And listen to his parents, what wonderful people they are.
Yeah.
My goodness. God forbid they heard that tape.
It's horrible. Horrible.
And then I think about the guards. I had heard that before, that he had said to the guards how sorry he was that happened to those kids, which I think is just disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that I believe, because that didn't come out in the beginning. In the beginning, someone said that he said it was anybody else arrested.
Oh yeah, I know
You
he
know?
said that, but he said that also during, I think this was said during the time that he's been in there with
Yeah,
them.
I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? It's so, the whole thing is crazy. And I don't know. I think they are thinking that those the posts are from him. I think that's.
Now, what will happen tomorrow at the hearing exactly?
Well, he can waive his right to a speedy trial, and then if he doesn't, then the trial's going to move, just go on. And nobody really does that ever, except this guy in Florida, and that didn't turn out well.
No one usually waives their right to a speedy trial.
Well, they usually waive their right to a speedy trial, because if you have a speedy trial, it means it happens right away. And some people, like this guy in Florida, thought, well, if we do that, maybe the prosecution won't have time to get together this really big case, and it'll work in his favor. And he was banking on that, but that didn't happen. And he was convicted of murdering his girlfriend. So most people don't do that. Most people waive their right and let them build, the case and get their defense together and all of that.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going to say he wants a speedy trial.
He won't enter a plea tomorrow.
He can enter the plea tomorrow.
He can.
Yep, he may. We'll see what happens. This is about how they plan to move forward with the case.
Okay, so he can enter guilty or not guilty.
The status hearing. Oh, he's never going to say guilty. He's not going to plead guilty. And there's no plea deal on the table, so he's not going to plead guilty, no way.
Yeah. Could they offer him a deal tomorrow?
They're not going to offer him a deal tomorrow. I think they're not going to offer him a deal at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. What else is going on? Let me see. So 8 o'clock. That's mountain time, right? Idaho's mountain time.
Idaho is 8 o'clock. That would be 9 o'clock my time.
No, 7 o'clock your time.
What? 8 o'clock.
Wait, I'm gonna do it now. Mountain time. It's 10 o'clock for me, 7 o'clock for you.
No, I'm ahead of you.
No, you're behind me. Right now it's 12:42 here, and it's only 9:44 where you are. So I'm in tomorrow, and you're yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, Mountain Time versus Eastern. I believe it's 2 hours different.
Really early.
2 hours. So it's 10, and for you, you're 7.
So that means it would be what time my time tomorrow?
7 a.m.
Ooh. Okay.
We just better stay up.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. So Mountain's 1 hour ahead of you. So I wonder if they didn't have it that early, and then they went ahead and changed it. And I thought it was 8:30. Now it says it's 8 o'clock. So it's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm glad there's cameras in the court.
Yeah. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Linda. It's something everywhere for us. Rain, snow, and all of California under rain. Yeah, we looked at that the other night. But you're
Again?
okay. Yeah, Linda's in California too, but she said they're okay. I was wondering how you were. You're okay at the top of the mountains in Foskin, California. However, lower towns, yes, we saw them. And the mountains are flooding. It's terrible. Yeah, terrible. So Kevin, you would be your central time. So you're going to be 9 o'clock. Yes, right. I'm 10. You're 9. Is that right? Yeah, you're 1 hour ahead. And you're 1 hour behind me, Kevin. So you're 9. 9 o'clock, I'm 10 o'clock, and Ella's 7 o'clock. Very interesting. Where are you, Deborah? I don't know. They're in the middle.
It's also confusing.
Yeah.
Right now it's like 3:45 p.m. tomorrow for Deborah right now.
Oh.
With
That's
the
really
rain.
confusing.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. No,
Carolyn's done.
I'm not gonna even try that. That's crazy. That is crazy.
So the hearing is like 9 hours.
You're on my time, right, Margot?
Now.
You're the same time
Yeah.
as me?
Yeah, I'd say it's you.
Okay.
So Deborah, in 9 hours and 15 minutes, it'll be for you. That's all I can tell you.
Oh,
Now, will this be quick or will this be a long process?
I don't think it'll be long. It shouldn't be long. See what else is going on here. Nancy Grace apparently went
Oh, yeah.
and sat in front of the house. That's so ridiculous. What is that?
And,
I thought that was fake, and then I'm like, I thought somebody was making like a parody of her.
Have your cupcakes though.
Yeah, that's so crazy the way she's sitting there with a little table. That's nuts.
I know.
She traveled to Idaho to the home where Ethan Chapin, Madison, Zana, and Kaylee were killed. Oh my gosh.
What did she do out there?
She went there to list off places that are important in this investigation. Oh my goodness. Just looks so crazy the way she's. Why does she need the table there? I mean, it's just. It's nuts. That was nuts.
I saw that.
It was very helpful. The ex-Playboy model gets 10 to 20 years in the murder of a psychiatrist. So,
What's that one about?
well, let's see. I'll throw her picture up there. Go, stay up there.
Was he her lover?
She what?
Was he her lover?
No, a former Playboy model was sentenced to 10 to 25 years for her part in the 2019 murder of California psychiatrist Thomas Bouchard.
Yeah, was he her lover?
Oh, lover. I didn't know what you said. I was trying to think what you said. Let's see. I think his body was found stuffed in the trunk of a car, abandoned in the middle of the Nevada desert near Lake Mead. Kelsey Turner accepted a plea in November that guaranteed she'd be eligible for parole in 10 years. She agreed to an Alford plea, which means she does not admit her guilt, but she agrees that the prosecution likely has enough evidence to convict her. Prosecutors say that Turner, who's 29, and her boyfriend, John Kennison, also 29, beat the 71-year-old psychiatrist to death in early 2019, and they left him in the trunk of Turner's Mercedes after he stopped paying her $3,200 per month rent. Stopped paying her rent, not that he was paying. That's confusing. It's not like he was living in one of her properties. He was paying for her rent. And Kennison previously pled guilty to murder and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 18 to 45 years last summer. A third defendant, Turner and Kennison's roommate, Diana Pena, agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy. Bouchard's girlfriend, Judy Earp, spoke to the court before Turner's sentence was pronounced, although defense attorneys tried to prevent it. And she said, "My whole world was viciously ripped from me." She printed on her home computer checks with Tom's name and account number and her address. She went online and made many changes paying her bills. Her last words to me were, "She's a pervasive liar, and I had to see for myself." Earp told the court that she fears Turner will retaliate against her when she's released, noting that the former Playboy and Maxim model threatened to kill her in the past. "I never realized such evil existed in this world until this happened," Earp said. "I do not want to spend the rest of my life constantly worrying and always looking over my shoulder for if or when she's granted parole." Turner was also ordered to pay thousands of dollars in legal fees during the sentencing on Tuesday. So, yeah.
Why was he paying her rent? Did it say why he was paying her rent?
I believe they were having some kind of a little affair that she was doing just because he was paying her bills, and then he just decided to stop, and yeah, that didn't work out well for anybody. But that's
That's what I thought.
Crazy. Let's see, Georgia. Oh, here's another one. Georgia man seriously injured his mother and stabbed his father to death Sunday in the Forsyth County. He looks,
Everything's with families now.
I'm telling you, and there's so many that are killing their parents. It's crazy. A 36-year-old Georgia man has been charged with stabbing his parents on Sunday. He killed his father. He left his mother in serious condition. Caitlin Boswell reportedly fled the Forsyth home Catlin, before deputies arrived, but investigators tracked him down to Whitfield County on the Tennessee state line. Dalton police officers and county deputies took him into custody. He's now charged with the death of his 65-year-old father, John Boswell, who was found dead at the scene, and aggravated assault for wounding his mother, who remains hospitalized. Violent crimes like this are still shocking in Forsyth. The fact that a son could take the life of his own father and then try to do the same for his mother is beyond comprehension, said Sheriff Ron Freeman. The ability to take this offender into custody in less than 2 hours was the direct result of incredible work by our Uniform Patrol Division and the talented work of our major crime scene units. Without the professional and rapid work by our 911 center colleagues and the Forsyth Fire and EMS, we could be dealing with another victim lost and the suspect still being on the run. He is now held without bond in the Forsyth County Jail. That's great. Probably over money.
But it isn't the kids and the wife, it's the parents.
That's crazy. Drunk mom leaves child in car while she pops into a West Virginia bar.
Yes.
That's great. And so Madalena Koshikari, the little girl that's missing, the arrest affidavit was released showing what was found in the house. Let's see what was found in the house. Pull this over here. This is a little girl in North Carolina that they haven't found. Let's see what was found.
Or the sister.
No, this is another little girl that the parents didn't. They didn't know she was missing until the school called, and by then they had lost so much time. And then the stepfather was 60, and he was way older, and he went up towards. It was in Michigan. And let's see. Okay, so let's see here. What did they find? On Thursday, December 15th, at approximately 13:12 hours, officers responded to the Bailey Middle School. The complainant, Diane Kochikari, who resides at blah, 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 reported her juvenile daughter, Madalena Kochikari, had been missing since approximately 2200 hours on Wednesday, November 23rd. See, it was December 15th, and she had been missing since November 23rd. Parents did not report her missing, and until the school was like, hey, where's your daughter? They called her into school, and then she said, oh, yeah, my daughter's missing. On Monday, December 12th, at approximately 1400 hours, Bailey Middle School resource officer attempted a home visit with the 6th grade school counselor, Mrs. D. Lampkin, in reference to Madalena Kochikari. Ms. Lampkin stated that Madalena Kochikari has not been in school since November 21st. There was no answer at the door, and a truancy package was left by Mrs. Lampkin. On Wednesday, December 4th, Mrs. Lampkin advised Madalena Kochikari's mother, Diana Kochikari, called her requesting a meeting in reference to Madalena. Mrs. Lampkin advised Diana Kochikari, stated she would bring Madalena to school on Thursday and meet with Mrs. Lampkin in reference to the truancy. On Thursday, December 15th, Diana Kochikari arrived at the school without Madalena and met with Mrs. Lampkin. Mrs. Lampkin requested Officer Nobles step into the meeting, and when Officer Nobles arrived, Mrs. Lampkin and Diana advised me that Madalena has been missing since November 23rd. Hold on, so I think there was something else, but it's just...
Well, you know what happened there.
Yeah, and then, see, but they can't find her because the stepfather then took this trip, and so she could be anywhere between North Carolina. Let's see what else they found here. So she last said that she last saw Madalena on Wednesday She stated that Madalena went into her room that night to go to bed. Diana stated her and her husband, Christopher Palmer, argued that night, and the next morning he drove to his family's house in Michigan to recover some items. Diana stated that she went to check on Madalena at 11:30 and on the 24th and noticed she was not in her room. Diana stated that she waited until Saturday, November 26th at 1900 hours when Christopher Palmer returned home before asking if he knew where she was. Christopher stated he didn't know and asked the same question in return. Detective Patterson asked Diana why she did not report Madalena missing until now, and Diana stated that she was worried it might start a conflict between her and her husband, Christopher. Officer Nobles requested that she contact Christopher and have him come to the school. Officer Nobles then contacted Detective Patterson and Detective Nichols for assistance. Patterson questioned Diana regarding her missing daughter, and she explained that she believed her husband put her family in danger, but did not know what happened to Madalena. She stated that she had contacted her family in Moldova, who advised her that she contact the police, and she still hesitated to call. Diana said Madalena did not have a phone, Madalena's backpack and some clothes were missing from the residence, and that Madalena didn't have any friends she would stay with, and they have no family around due to Diana being from Moldova. Detective Nichols and Detective Patterson went to Victoria Bay Drive in Cornelius to search Madalena's room. Ms. Kojikari and Mr. Palmer were adamant they didn't know where Madalena could be. While in the house, Detective Patterson noticed an area blocked off with plywood off the kitchen. Detective Nichols asked about the area, and Mr. Palmer said that he had planned to make a separate apartment. Detective Nichols and Detective Patterson, Sergeant Sarver, and Detective Macon returned to the house on 12/15 at around 1900 hours with a search warrant to search the house for any potential evidence associated with Madalena's disappearance, and during the course of the search they seized 2 cell phones from Diana and Mr. Palmer. The phone for Mr. Palmer is issued with the telephone number blah 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 blah. Based upon the applicant's training and experience, persons who commit crimes often change their phone numbers they use to communicate following the commission of a crime. However, these individuals often continue to communicate with associates through alternate means, including newly established cell phone numbers. So they, let's see what else they did here.
One story sadder than the next.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what else they got. There's the search warrant, what they find. Search warrant was issued. Copy of the photos. So they have the phones. Okay. That's it. What about that room, though? I don't know. That's another really sad case. It's not.
One is
Okay,
sadder
well-
than the next.
What?
One is sadder than the next.
Yeah, I know. And there's so many people that would, just love to have these kids, and these people just kill them. Beautiful little girl. I don't get it. And then not to report your daughter missing because you don't want to upset your husband. That's ridiculous.
There's got to be another way where these parents can give these children up safely. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Children shouldn't have to die that way.
No, they shouldn't.
Not
No.
anyway, yeah.
Right, they shouldn't.
Mm.
But especially not at the hands of their mother or father.
Oh, horrible.
It's crazy. I don't know.
Too bad you can't do to them what they did to their children, but that
Oh,
would
he
be
killed
considered
her
cruel and
fingers.
unusual.
Yeah, let me look at that antifreeze trial. That's going on now. That's from 1998. Scooter was saying, wow, 1998. I don't know what the holdup was for the trial. I mean, retrial. Oh, it's a retrial for Mark Jensen, accused of killing his wife with antifreeze. New trial ordered in 1998 is back Back in trial now. So the decades-long legal battle over a high-profile Kenosha County murder case has taken another bounce, this time in favor of Mark Jensen, serving life in prison for a crime he has always said he didn't commit. The state Supreme Court on Thursday ruled again that incriminating statements Jensen's wife Julie made about him, revealed after she had died, cannot be used against him at trial. Jensen was convicted, so he was convicted already in 2008 of poisoning Julie, 40, with antifreeze, then suffocating her in the garage of the couple's Pleasant Prairie home in December of 1998. The case attracted national attention, and the trial was moved to Walworth County because of its pretrial publicity. Prosecutors highlighted a letter that Julie had left with a neighbor and voicemail she left with a police officer, suggesting that if she wound up dead, her husband was likely responsible. Whether or not that evidence was subject of much pretrial litigation and later appeals. Thursday's decision affirmed a Court of Appeals decision last year that Jensen deserves a new trial without that evidence. Prior decisions from courts ruled so-called voice from the grave evidence violated Gene's Sixth Amendment right to confront witnesses against him. Jensen got to hear Julie's statements after the judge found Jensen had forfeited the right by causing her death and therefore making her unavailable to testify. The ruling was subject of more appeals. Okay, so this is what it is. And now that he was convicted in 2008, so this is a retrial for this guy. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Wisconsin man, his retrial begins. Let's see what happened. Jensen is charged with first-degree intentional homicide in his wife's death. He remains in custody on a $1.2 million cash bond. Prosecutors allege that he began poisoning his wife with antifreeze in December of '98. He drugged her with sleeping medication, later suffocated her to death over a 3-day period. Jensen continues to maintain his innocence, with his attorneys arguing that Julie Jensen was depressed and killed herself and framed her husband. Okay. Kenosha County Assistant District Attorney Carl McNeil told the jury that prosecutors would present evidence that the defendant murdered his wife with ethylene glycol, and this was not Julie Jensen ingesting the substance to commit suicide. She lived for her kids, and she died because the defendant murdered her. Jensen's defense attorney said that Julie Jensen's infidelity and depression strained the couple's marriage and led her to take her own life. What brings us here today is Julie Jensen's suicide, said Mackenzie Renner, Mark Jensen's attorney, the suicide of a woman who was in declining mental health. Jurors began hearing testimony from witnesses after Wednesday's opening statements. Oh, so they'll probably convict him again, even without that other stuff. I don't remember that trial in 1998, whatever. Is anyone in the chat watching that trial? Kevin has an early appointment? We all have an early appointment.
I'm watching on cereal.
Oh, yeah, we all have an early
You
appointment.
have an early appointment. I don't have any appointments.
We have the
tomorrow.
hearing. We all have the hearing.
What time is that?
10 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah. Yeah. Could you get a later date for that hearing? What the are you nuts?
We make that for PM.
It's early for me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I rest to take my mother out. Oh, okay. Got 2 B's? Yes, 8 hours. You listened to that 8 hours? To the trial Got 2 B's? Interesting. Very interesting. But I think I'm going to end this like early tonight because we'll probably be on, a lot tomorrow. We're talking about whatever happens at the hearing and whatever else is new. And so her birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday to your mother. Did you make her a birthday cake? I'm joking. All right, I guess we'll end it here. And so, yeah, we'll be around tomorrow for this hearing, see what's going on. So come by and see us. Thank you, guys. Prayers for all that need them. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody take care. Bye. Love you guys.
everybody.
God bless.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Let me shut this one
Sweet
off.
dreams.